Hey everyone, this is Steven here, back at it again with another video. In today's video, I plan on covering 5 of the most popular sports card grading companies, which are BECKETT, CSG, PSA, HGA, and SGC, and I'm going to look at some of their current updates that they've recently made, as well as some pros and cons of each of the companies. But before we get into that, I did want to say that I am running a giveaway. I'll leave a link above. Please feel free to go check that video out in order to win a Ronald Acuna Jr. rookie card or potentially a Juan Soto rookie card. So please feel free to go check that video out, and also feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe if you would like to see more of this content in the future. So now that we went over that, we can get into the actual list of grading companies. For this specific list, I am going to start with the newer, kind of less popular grading companies and work our way towards the more popular ones. So in this case, we're going to start with CSG and work our way towards PSA. And my whole intent of this presentation is to consolidate a lot of the information out there and make it easier for the viewers to have one spot to kind of look at some of the pros and cons of each company, as well as the current, and this is as of May 9th, the current prices as well as turnaround times and what you get for the specific prices of each card and each company. And another thing to note is all of the prices that I included are just the standard economy package. So none of this is including the express shipping or the one-day priority mail or anything like that. This is just simply the economy or more basic standard type of service. So that is another thing to note. But now we can get into the actual grading company. We're going to start off with CSG. So CSG is also known as Certified Sports Guarantee. The price per card is, with no subgrades, it's about $20 per card. And if you want to include subgrades, it's about $30 per card. And the turnaround time for that is currently, and again, this is as of May 9th, the current turnaround time is 75 business days. So that is actually a lot faster than a lot of the other grading services on this list. However, we don't really know, as this is a newer company, if they're going to be able to hold to that turnaround time or not. But that is, again, as of today, the turnaround time is currently 75 business days. So some of the pros of this company are that they're huge and reputable in other industries. So their parent company is Certified Collectibles Group, and they are the biggest player in the non-sports card market, which would be Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, as well as other coin and other currency type grading. So they are a huge player in that, which that alone makes them extremely scalable. So they should be able to pull on a lot of those resources and that expertise in order to help out with this new CSG sports card grading service. Another pro going for them is they have population reports. So all the cards that are entered into the system will be included in the population reports, and they do also include subgrades. However, it is $10 more per card. Some of the cons of CSG would be that it does appear that the majority of people aren't the biggest fans of the CSG slabs. They don't really like the appeal of them. A lot of them actually think that they are ugly. As you can see on the right hand side, the Ken Griffey Jr. upper deck is in a CSG 10 there, and the actual label on the slab is pretty large compared to some of the other grading companies, and that could be one of the bigger reasons why the appeal just isn't there. However, that is extremely subjective, and that will vary person to person. Again, that's very subjective. And another con to CSG is that they are extremely new to the sports card market, so we don't really know how their value is going to hold up over time, and we don't really know what their grading scale is going to look like, if they're going to be tough graders, easy graders. We just don't, there's still a lot of unknowns within CSG. So I think this is something that we're just going to have to wait to see how they pan out over time. But I do think overall, any competition within the sports card grading market is good. So I do think that CSG offers a good alternative to some of the bigger players. But I do think that you have to really like the slabs, and I also think that you have to know that potentially these slabs may not hold as much value over time, just due to the fact that they aren't as appealing as some of the other slabs on the list. The next company on the list is Hybrid Grading Approach, also known as HGA, and they are also a very new company, similar to CSG, but they currently offer a price per card of $20, which includes subgrades, and the current turnaround time is around 60 days. Some of the pros of HGA would be that they do appear to have some appealing slabs. So if you look at the Messi card on the right, they do have the ability to match the label to the color of the card. So as you can see, the blue label matches the blue color of the card. So they do have the ability to color code the labels based on either the jersey or the color of the background in the card. So I think that that is one of the biggest pros that they offer. However, you do have the ability to select a standard label if you're not interested in the color-coded or color-coordinated labels. Another pro would be that they do have very fast turnaround times at 60 days per submission. That is faster than a lot of the other companies on the list. And they do also include subgrades within the price per card of $20, whereas CSG has subgrades, but it is $10 more. Another pro that they have is that they do currently have a population report. However, we need to take that with a grain of salt because they don't currently have a lot of cards that have been submitted, so there's just not a lot of data within their system. Some of the cons would be that they are brand new, so similar to CSG, we don't really know how the value of their slabs will hold up over time, as well as we don't really know if they're going to have a tough grading scale or their grades are going to be really hard or really easy. We just don't really know what that's going to look like. But I think that the biggest con of HGA would be that they currently have limited acceptance of submissions, so it's more of a lottery system where they only allow a couple thousand of applicants each week to actually submit. So you have all these people trying to submit their cards to HGA each week. However, only a fraction of a percentage of people are actually able to get their cards in HGA. So I think as of right now, that's one of the biggest cons, is that not a lot of people are able to actually get their cards into HGA to get them graded. But overall, I do think that HGA offers a unique service where they do have the appealing slabs. And I think that they are a great company as long as you are able to get your cards into them by using their lottery system. The next company on the list today is the Sports Card Guarantee Corporation, also known as SGC. They currently offer a price per card of $30, and this is breaking news as of today. They used to have a price per card of $75, but as of today, they did announce that the price per card has gone down to $30, which is still pretty expensive, but that does not include subgrades, and the turnaround time is a whopping 20 to 25 business days, so that is extremely fast, and that is the fastest one on the list today. So some of the pros of SGC would be that the turnaround time is the quickest in the industry of 20 to 25 business days. Another pro would be that they do have the SGC gold label, which you can see on the right on the slab there, and that sells for about 2 times the amount of a PSA 10. However, those are extremely hard to get. Another pro is that they also have a population report similar to all the other grading companies on here. Some of the cons would be the price, and originally this was $75 per card, which was astronomical. However, they did just lower that down to $30 per card, which is still pretty high, but it's still better than the $75 per card. Another con is the resale value that we've been seeing with SGC. They just haven't been able to keep up with BECKETT or PSA. It looks like they're selling anywhere between 10 to 30% lower than PSA and BECKETT cards. So again, you're not really getting the full resale value that you are with some of the other bigger players. And another con for SGC is that they just haven't had the ability to capture any market share within the modern card market. A lot of people thought last year when PSA had a huge backlog and BECKETT was also backed up, a lot of people thought that SGC would be able to overtake either BECKETT or also PSA. However, it doesn't look like that they were able to capitalize on that. They also got overwhelmed and had an enormous backlog, and then ultimately had to increase their prices to $75 per card. So it does appear that they struggled to make a dent in the modern card market. However, overall, I do think that SGC is another good alternative if you are willing to pay the $30 per card if you want to get some cards back quicker, because they do have a very fast turnaround time. The next company is BECKETT, and BECKETT is normally known as the number 2 player in the sports card grading market. They currently offer a price per card of $20, which does not include subgrades. If you want to add subgrades, it goes up to $35. And the turnaround time is currently listed on their website at 10 plus months, so almost a year for turnaround time. So they do have a pretty big backlog and a really, really long turnaround time. Some of the pros of going with BECKETT would be that they currently have the second highest resale value behind PSA. Another pro is that they do offer BGS 10s. They have a gold label and also a black label. For this, we'll just look at the gold label. But a gold label, which is shown on the right for the LeBron James, that is when you have 3 10s, 1 9.5. but essentially you get a gold label, which typically sells for about 2.5 times the amount of a PSA 10. So it's a lot more valuable than a PSA 10. However, they're a lot harder to come by. I want to say around 5% of submissions come back with the gold label PSA 10. Another pro is that they do offer a population report, and they also have thick protective slabs. So I think that this can be a pro and a con, and this is also very subjective, but they do have thicker, bigger slabs, which really helps protect the cards. But I know that a lot of people don't really like how big their actual slabs are. So again, that could be a pro or a con depending on the person. And then another pro is that they do offer subgrades. Some of the cons would be that their turnaround time is pretty ridiculous at 10 plus months. So if you submit a card now, you probably won't get it back for at least another year or so. Also, another con would be that they do appear to have some lack of transparency. A lot of the other grading companies have came out and kind of said whether they're going to raise prices, lower prices, increase turnaround time, decrease turnaround. We haven't really heard much from BECKETT over the past year or so. And then another con would be the subgrades, which would also be a pro. So if you can get higher subgrades, that can actually boost your grades up, which would increase the value. But if you do get lower subgrades, for example, if you get a 9.5 because of your subgrades instead of a 10, then your 9.5 is going to sell about 20 to 30% less than a PSA 10. So subgrades can really help you if you get the higher grades, but they can also hurt you if you get lower grades. And then another con would be the inconsistent grading. But overall, it still does appear that BECKETT is the number 2 player within the sports card market, and it does appear that they're still a solid option if you're able to wait it out 10 months to get your cards back. The last company on today's list is Professional Sports Authenticator, also known as PSA, and they are currently known as the largest player within the sports card grading market. Currently, they offer a price per card of $20, which does not include subgrades. And the turnaround time for these cards is actually suspended for basic or economy. And the old turnaround time was around 11 plus months, so almost a year, in order to get your cards back. However, their services are currently suspended as of right now. And I would also say that the price per card of $20 is subject to change once they open up. It's supposed to be around July, but who knows? But once they open up around July, I would not be surprised if we saw a pretty significant price increase from that $20. But again, that is currently what's listed on their website, and who knows what it's going to look like in the future, but that's currently what's on there right now. Some of the pros of PSA would be that they currently have the highest resale value, and also a lot of people think that they have some of the most slab appeal, and they also have very consistent slabs. So whether you get a PSA 10, PSA 9, PSA 8, no matter what grade you get, the slab is going to look the same, so it's very consistent. And then I think the biggest pro, or one of the biggest pros with PSA, is their population report. And I want to say that that is the gold standard of population reports. That is where most people look when they say that they want to look at the population of a specific card. They will check out the PSA population report. And then another pro is that they currently have a huge market share within the sports card grading market. And they are currently the number 1 player, which I think is a really big advantage to them. Some of the cons would be that they are currently not grading cards right now, so they do have suspended service. Another con is their outrageous turnaround time, so we're looking at over 11 months to probably longer, more like a year, to get your cards back. And then another con would be the unknown costs, and again, I do think that their price per card will be going up, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. But I think that there is an unknown there to see what their actual pricing will look like once they get back up and running in the near future. And then another con would be their inconsistent grading. So we do hear this a lot, that some of the graders might grade harder, some of the graders might grade a little easier. So it almost seems like it depends on the specific grader for that day, which is definitely a problem with the inconsistency in grading that we've been seeing with PSA. However, overall, I do think that PSA is still the market leader within the sports card grading market. And I do think that if you want the best return on your investment, I still think that PSA is the best place to go, but I do think that that will depend on the price per card once they get back up and running. And I also think that you have to be willing to let your cards sit there for almost a year until you get them back. But overall, they're still the number 1 player, and I don't see anyone knocking them off in the near future. So that concludes the 5 grading companies I wanted to cover today. I will include a table summarizing some of the higher level attributes of each company. But I really hope that this video was helpful to help understand what are some of the pros and cons of each of the companies. But overall, I really hope you enjoyed this content in this video today. And if you did, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. Thanks, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.